Hi there, Mrs. Ehlke here. Have you guys gotten ready for Christmas yet? We are getting ready for Christmas in our house. We are getting our Christmas tree decorated with ornaments and lights. We're decorating the outside of our home. We're pulling out all of our decorations from our boxes. And one of the things, of course, that we are pulling out are things like this. We have this fun little nativity set that someone gave us that we use for my kids, especially to play with, to talk about the story of the birth of our Savior. And we have this whole set that includes Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. It also has angels and shepherds and wise men. And we have all of that out on display so our kids can talk about the story of the birth of our Savior. Well, today we're going to do art related to the Nativity, when baby Jesus was born. And we're going to use the style of one of my favorite artists. His name is Vincent Van Gogh. And Van Gogh is a French artist who liked to use lots of little brush strokes to make his paintings. It's called Impressionism. And so we're going to do something similar, although we're not going to use just paint, but we're actually going to use markers as well. Here's the example that I made. So you can see that I have lots of what looks like little brush strokes. They're actually little marker dots, and then we kind of used water to swirl them together to make it look like paint. And you can see the little nativity right here, Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus with the stable. Does this painting look familiar, especially the sky and these tall bushes right here? Maybe you've seen the painting Starry Night before by Vincent Van Gogh. So we're using his style to make the beautiful sky with the star, and then instead of making a little town below like what Vincent Van Gogh painted in his painting, we're going to do the nativity scene. So have fun with this one, follow along, and I hope yours looks super awesome when you're done. All right? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see how yours turn out. Do you recognize this painting? This is Starry Night by Vincent Van Gogh, and that's our inspiration for our project today. For our project, we'll be using some Crayola markers. We'll be using some paper. It helps if it's a little bit thicker, some water, and a paintbrush or two. I'm going to start off with an orange, and I'm going to use it to draw a star. Now this is going to be the star that's going over our manger scene. And I'm just doing it with a long line in the middle, and then make it into a cross, and then add an X on top. Now I'm adding lots of dashed lines to go wherever the light is going to be, kind of around my stars. You can see I'm making some other stars with dots and adding these dashed lines around them. Next, I'm going to go in with yellow, and I'm going to add some dashes around that too. And you could actually even go farther out than I did in mine, even into kind of where the blue will be, because it helps the colors blend. Adding lots and lots of light and dashes. Next, I want to think of those swirls in the sky. So I'm using my blue to create those swirls first. And I might even throw a little something in on this side. And then I'm going to add the dashes of blue that kind of follow the lines of the swirls. Now, if you have two different shades of blue markers, maybe you have a light blue and a dark blue, that would be nice to include some of the other color dashes in here too. I only have one blue, so all of mine are the same. After I've done the swirls, I'm adding dashes around the stars in kind of a circular pattern. I'm trying to use the fatter part of my marker so my dashes are a little bit bigger. Next, I'm going to add some purple in the sky as well. That way it's not just the blue. And I want to do that until the entire sky is filled with dashes of color. I'm also going to bring my sky down a little bit lower with the purple. Next, I'm switching to my water. I'm just using plain water, and I'm kind of going in dash-like strokes around my stars first. It's okay if you even leave a little bit of white poking through. And I want to just kind of try to get the markers to blend a little bit with their colors. I don't want to scrub at the colors so much that I lose all those little dashes. I want to still be able to see the dashes that I put in. And I'm just adding water around each one. And then I'm kind of working it out towards the edges. Next, I'm going into the blue, and I'm switching to a larger brush for this one so I can cover more ground. And I just want to try to keep the same flow as the swirls because I don't want to lose the swirls by painting too much. You can see as we brush over the marker, it basically turns into kind of like a watercolor paint. And so this kind of helps spread the color around and get rid of most of the white of the paper. Now, if you're having a hard time getting it to spread, you can always go back in and add more dashes to get a little bit more of a bold color. If you want your sky to be darker, I would also suggest adding a little bit more color. Maybe more of the purple and the blue, maybe mix them a little bit more than what I did too. Now I'm switching to black, and I don't care if I have all of the dashes in the ground. This one I just want to have kind of a nice solid rich color, because all of the excitement's happening more up in the sky. So I'm just coloring in with some black. I'm going to add maybe some purple too, just to make it so it's not all one color. I'm just kind of coloring in with my marker to fill up the ground space. Notice how one side of my ground is a little bit higher than the other. I want it to kind of look like there's a little bit of a hill. Now I'm going to use my water, and I want to kind of blend these colors together in a nice smooth way. So I'm just adding water to the marker and then letting the colors blend. I want this to be a nice solid base for the wild sky that we have. Now I'm going to go back to my black marker, and I want to draw the nativity set. So I'm just going to start with a straight vertical line and another straight vertical line the same size. You can see they're parallel to each other. I'm going to add 2 diagonal lines and then 1 horizontal line on top. This is going to be the main structure of the stable. Next, I'm doing a horizontal line and turning that into the manger. Trying to keep my shapes nice and simple. And then I'm going to put baby Jesus in the manger just by adding a little circle and a little curve. Next I'm going to do Mary. I'm just trying to kind of come up with the basic form. If you need to start with a stick figure first and then kind of fill it out, you can. It's just whatever you can do to create kind of the basic shapes of the Nativity. Also, if ever you need to pause the video and catch up with me, feel free to do that. So you can see I have a basic shape of Mary. She basically looks like an L. And then Joseph is going to be standing. So I'm going to have him taller and then standing up. I want to keep their outlines really simple. This is called a silhouette. So it's just the black outline of them with the bright yellow background. And they both have their hands like they're praying to the Savior. If you want to, you can just leave them like that, or you can use a small point paintbrush and just to kind of make sure that the lines are nice and smooth. The paper I was using was pretty rough, so I wanted to smooth out the lines just by adding a little bit of water. You definitely want to make sure that your yellow is dry before you go into the black here. If you try to draw these black lines while your yellow is still wet, you'll have a nice mess on your hands. After that, I just wanted to add some trees or some large bushes off to the left side, just like Van Gogh has in his Starry Night picture. So I'm just adding kind of some curvy trees. If you wanted to add something else in yours too, you could also maybe throw some silhouettes of animals or some sheep. If you wanted to get really fancy, you could add the shepherds, maybe over by these big trees. It's up to you. Thanks so much for joining me in this. I hope you are having a fun time with this Van Gogh inspired nativity scene.